Hey everybody, it's Shamika. Do you guys know the difference between your credit reporting statute of limitations and your state statute of limitations as it pertains to debt collection? A lot of people don't, but I'm going to explain it to you to try to make this fairly easy. I'm going to kick out a lot of numbers here, so I want to make sure you guys are paying attention and listening closely. All right, so there is a difference between your credit reporting statute of limitations, and that is that crazy number we all know to be 7. Most of us automatically think 7 years something stays on your credit. That is kind of true and kind of not true. I'm actually going to firm that up for you so that you can have the exact correct information. Okay, so let's start out with items that are actually good on your credit. Items that are good on your credit as it pertains to the credit reporting statute of limitations. Those accounts can stay on your credit for one or two ways. They can stay on there indefinitely, or they fall off after 7 years. Usually if it is an account that is revolving, or it was some type of contract, where that be a loan or a car or something of that nature, usually those accounts fall off after 7 years. If not, they can stay on there indefinitely, which of course is always good to you, the consumer, because it shows great payment history, hopefully, so that you're able to go out and get more credit later. So that's what happens with the good information. So what happens with the bad information? All right, so I'm going to break that down because it can be a little confusing. So I'm going to start with the really bad stuff. I'm going to start with your public records, and that will be your tax liens and bankruptcies. Okay, so if you have a tax lien, which means that you owe IRS, they put a lien against your home or something of that nature, those usually stay on your credit report for up to 15 years. I have seen some credit bureaus, they actually remove them after 10 years, but they don't have to. They actually can stay up to 15 years. And the numbers that I'm giving you are going to be the maximums they can stay, although some of them can come off sooner, okay? If you file a Chapter 7 bankruptcy, a Chapter 7 bankruptcy is what they call a straight bankruptcy. It's a fairly easy process, although the process of this bankruptcy only takes about 30 to 45 days. This actually is supposed to stay on your credit report for 10 years. I did say supposed to stay on your credit report because if you know what to do to remove it from your credit report, bankruptcies can absolutely be removed from your credit report. But if they have not, they normally, if it's a Chapter 7, they are there for 7 years. If you filed a Chapter 13, Chapter 13 bankruptcy is a little bit different. This is a bankruptcy where the individual would have to make some monthly payments back to their creditors. It's really just a restructuring plan. And this bankruptcy usually lasts 3 to 5 years. One of the good things, I guess, they give you, other than having to pay back the creditors over this amount of time, they give you a shorter time for it to be on your credit report, and this only reports for 7 years. So the credit reporting statute of limitations for the bankruptcies, the Chapter 7 is 10 years, a Chapter 13 is 7 years, and again, a tax lien is 15. So those are your really, really, really harsh, long things that are on your credit. And yes, all of those can be removed, just FYI. All right, I'm moving on to your collections. So if you have a collection that is reporting on your credit report, and this collection is the result of a charged off account, the credit reporting statute of limitations is 7 years, but it is 7 years from the date that account was charged off, not the date that you first missed the payment, not the date that the first payment was late that was reported. It is the date that the account is charged off. So it is 7 years from that date. Okay, and that's only if it is a collection due to a charged off account. All right, if you have And this is just normal for your regular accounts that may be late. They may be semi derogatory, meaning you may have a couple late pays, but they're not necessarily a bad account. Those accounts still report they still report 7 years normally on the credit reporting side. Excuse me. All right, so I think I hit all of them. I missed one. I'm sorry. If you have an account that is sold to a debt collector, meaning that account is a collection. Now, this may not be because of a charge-off. Majority of the time, accounts that are sold to debt collectors are usually charged off, so almost 98% of the time. But if just so happens this is an account that is a collection that is not sold to a debt collector, and sometimes that could be evictions, repos, things of that nature, those accounts are also reporting for 7 years, but they report from the first date of the delinquent payment. So that's different than the account that is a collection because of a charge-off. So I want to make sure I don't confuse you, so I'm going to run that back again. If it is the result of a charged off account, meaning if it's a collection, but it's because of it's charged off, that means that the 7-year clock starts from the date that account was charged off. If it is a closed account that is a collection, but it's not due to a charge off, and that usually could be a repo or an eviction, those are still going to be reported on your credit for 7 years, but it's going to be from the first date of the missed payment. Okay, so I hope I cleared it up for you guys. Now that is your credit reporting statute of limitations. Now we have something that is called your state debt collection statute of limitations. So your state debt collection statute of limitations is something completely different. And what that is, and I will put the link below so that you can click to look for your state. I live in Florida, so I'm only going to talk about Florida. Here in Florida, and I'm right now, just for brevity, I'm only going to talk about credit cards or financial agreements that the consumer and company got into. With your state statute of limitations, it's usually broke up into medical bills or credit card bills. And as a matter of fact, I think I was going to try to pull it up, but I'm not going to pull it up anymore. I'm just going to put the link down there below you so that you can see. But for the state of Florida, a debt collector can only pursue a consumer up to 5 years. Okay, now remember I stated before that if it's a collection due to a charged off account, that can only be it's going to report from 7 years from the date that the account was charged off. Well, yes, that's also the same date that the debt collection company would use to start their clock for how long they have to pursue you legally in court to sue you for that debt to try to garnish wages. So I'm going to run that back again because I know that can be a little confusing. So once again, in the state of Florida, if you came into a contractual agreement, and each state has different categories of what these agreements go by, but if it's just like a contract for a car or for a credit card or something of that nature, you have the creditor has 5 years, or that debt collection company has 5 years to pursue you for that debt, meaning they can try to sue you, they can try to garnish your wages, and they can do whatever they would like to do to try to get that money out of you. But after that time period, it is now called a time-barred debt, meaning they missed the time to pursue you for the debt. That statute of limitations has now been enforced, and they can no longer come after you for the debt. Now, I have actually seen companies that try to come after people for a debt that's time-barred, and they've actually got sued because that's actually illegal. So you guys want to make sure that if you are not sure how much time you have left before a debt becomes time barred, you want to go and pull your credit report. I would not suggest that you go through Credit Karma. You'd actually should pay a couple bucks and maybe go through Experian. That's probably one of the easier ones to read, and get you or Identity IQ or something like that, and get you a nice fresh printout. And then when you get that printout, it'll tell you the date that these accounts are going to fall off. And then usually they're all very different. They're all over the place, and but they are supposed to be based off of the numbers that I gave you, these statute of limitations dates. Now, if you're one of those individuals that you need it broken down so that you can actually see it, you can actually probably try to figure that out on your own. You should be able to see that from your month's calendar that's usually below your account on the credit report. Will show that it's 30 days, 60 days, 90 day late. You can usually do your own calculation there to see if that debt is actually going to drop off at the right time. So they really don't try to confuse you or anything. It's usually right there for you to do for yourself, but they don't let you know that there are two types of statute of limitations. So once again, we have our credit reporting statute of limitations, and that is that actually defines how long an item is going to be reported on your account. It's different, remember, for items that are charged off, that are collections, or items that are just a collection that are just closed. It's different between the different types of bankruptcy chapters, and it's also different if it is a tax lien. Then the other statute of limitations, of course, is our state debt collection statute of limitations. And as I stated before, I'm going to put the link below so that you could see how long a creditor can pursue you for a debt. Hopefully you'll get lucky and they'll come after you for a debt that is time barred, and you can actually sue them and win you some money and hopefully get that account taken off. So I hope I was able to explain the difference between the two types of statute of limitations. It can be a little confusing, but keep pressing on. Credit was designed to be that way, hopefully to deter you from wanting to further do your research. But if you look at this as all fun and games and a maze, I think that you'll enjoy this process a little bit better. So once again, subscribe. Thank you for watching the video. And if you like, please share, hit the notification button. And if you have any video topics, please put them below or send me an email and I'll be sure to follow up. Thanks. Bye.